Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Queen's Wish. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're chose to join me today as we talk to Hunt here, who says RRA. No, wait, it's all caps. The door to the northern chamber of the Brock Hall is securely locked. The dog by the head table starts barking. Oh, I thought it was a wolf. But anyway, Conqueror turns to you. Those are the quarters of Our Lady, and she is in seclusion. Please leave that door alone. And also the lady, I assume. So we are currently in Chinda. In last episode, we talked to Conqueror over there. Very interesting name. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it properly. As you leave the hall, a guard runs up behind you. He looks alarmed. You turn to him, and he says, there should really be... This game needs... You know... There's a word for the word end. Like, it's a conjunctive word, I think. Like and but. And I think there's other words. But yeah, this game needs that in, like, shovels. Just buttloads of that. Anyway, you turn to him, and he says, "Excuse me, Prince, I am sorry. I am still shocked. You have been invited to meet with Lady Brock. She is in seclusion, but she wishes to see you. She is in the northern room of the Great Hall." The guard turns and re-enters the hall. This happened it's very brusque. Can I talk to Bracton over here? I mean, I can, but he doesn't say anything that he hasn't said already. Lady Brock is over there. She's saying things at me. "I am in mourning," she says. Well, I'm in afternoon then. She doesn't actually say that she's in, like, the morning part of the day. She's mourning. That's what she's doing. The soldier guarding Chinda nods nervously when you approach. Or actually, the soldiers nod. They are well armed and alert. War between the Ukatish clans is infrequent, but the northern Ukat is in a bit of a bad patch right now. It's a bad patch. I'm sure that it is. We got some statues over here and some pretty things up north. Nothing to loot. Let's just go ahead and talk to her. The room is mostly dark. It is warmed in the old Ukatish style. A small, low bonfire that puffs off a lot of smoke and only a little light. The smoke chokes you. The Ukat is not a place for comfort, because it sucks, and the people suck, as we well know. Then you see her. We saw her already. The old woman looks tiny in her carved wooden chair. She wears a black dress and veil, decorated with red stars to represent the colors of the Brock clan. She looks up at you and squints. "I am Lady Brock. I summoned you." Hello. But before I do that, I like that, I don't like it, I hate it, that the implication that the Ukat is not a place for comfort, is that the smoke, it's too smoky. That's, you can't have comfort in this country. You will choke on the smoke of the pit, of the fire pit, or whatever it's called, bonfire, and otherwise you'll go outside to the rain. Because of course it's raining. No comfort here will be had. And if it's sunny outside, then we'll just set your house on fire. That's what we'll do. Just so you learn. "You are a prince, yes? Of that mighty faraway land?" "Yes. Though I wish I wasn't. I mean, I wish it also wasn't mighty. And also, anyway." She smiles sadly. "I understand. I share the burden that high birth brings. I struggled under it for many years, and then I retired to this room in solitude." In solitude, I believe. "And mourning." Yeah, then she retired to this room in solitude, I think. And in mourning as well. Why am I here then? "You are here because I wish it. I need to break my seclusion. I have a good reason, and you are the opportunity." I am the opportunity. Oh, that's the sweetest thing anybody has ever said to me. Also, am I to believe that she hasn't seen people in forever? Is that what the game is trying to say here? Because the guard was shocked, and we don't know why he was shocked. I assumed it was because his script was way too fast for me having just left it, and this whole thing having been arranged in the span of 3 turns. But still, I think the implication is that she has never talked to anybody in 1,000 years, and now she talks to me, or something. But of course, I'm here to ask questions. Tell me more about the Brock clan. We are one of the greatest clans of the Ukat. We rule the northern shores and reaches. There are many small clans, but only a few hold true power. Us, the Ganel, the Eek, and of course our current rulers, the Borgin, in the home Warren. How long have you ruled these lands? Our clan has held these lands for 4 centuries. As for me, I was elevated to lady long ago, perhaps 40 years, before the calamity drove you from our land. The Brock were closed to haven then. My husband served at a high rank in your army. So, my doubts before about how long the calamity has been were sort of correct. It was a recent thing and not a tremendously ancient thing. I think the game is confused. There might be some revision of the game, as it were, where the calamity happened many, many years ago, like centuries ago. But no, it's been like 20 years or something. I did my duty here, she says. How did you come to be a leader of your clan? Or the leader of your clan, in fact. I didn't realize that she was. My father fell to a sickness, one of the many that plague the Ukat, because this land sucks, and the people do as well. It's in their nature. I was the eldest child. I ruled for years, putting off my proper grief and mourning when our lord fell in battle. Well, I need to discuss an important matter with you. She shakes her head. I have passed on that burden. You must speak to Conqueror outside. After I die, one of my children will return to Chinda to master our hall. My children share your burden. I don't understand half of what she's saying. I don't know what burden she's talking about. And also, what the heck does mastering a hall mean? It's not like riding a bull or something. Yes, but the treaty with Haven. Now she's annoyed. Apparently she wasn't before. See? She's the very kindest person. You are rude, she says. I told you our ways of things. Or our way of things. Bracton will discuss treaties and alliances. I am a lady in mourning, and it is not proper for me to conduct such business. Leave me. She waves you away. Well, that is a tremendous waste of time. What the heck was that for? Do I actually need to talk to Conqueror? Because I talked to Conqueror already. He says we must discuss matters. I am acting lord. Your face is acting lord. What the heck? You are the acting lord. There's nothing changes. It's all... We do the... Yeah. The Borgin are threatening you. They have ruled. And it's all impossible. It's the thing about getting to the Ganel or whatever. So, yeah. I don't know what that is all about. Why did the game get me to talk to the lady after I talked to Conqueror? I don't know. We have Masilda over here. Lovely name. As you walk through the common room of the inn, there are a lot of icy stares. The Wukatish never miss an opportunity to quietly let you know what they don't that they don't like you, because they're horrible people, horrible. Then the innkeeper clears her throat, clanks a mug against the cauldron, and says, "Welcome, visitor." Regular conversation resumes, and she says, "We don't get many travelers like you. The unfamiliar for the Ukatish is always bad news. I am Masilda." Yeah, I'm definitely not familiar at all. You'd never have never seen your previous conquerors. Tell me about your inn. That is a question. That is a question that I asked. Sort of. Doesn't have a question mark, but still. Chinde is one of the largest... Wait, what? I specifically asked about your inn, and she's telling me about Chinde. Okay. Chinde is one of the largest towns in the Ukat. A miserable, disgusting sty to your eyes because it sucks, but it is important to us because we suck. Don't mind the other patrons. They suck too. They're all nervous. It's a difficult time, you know, with all the sucking. What sort of visitors does Chinde get? Merchants and warriors and miners and visitors. Oh, that's where all the ends went. That's where they went. They took them all out of the rest of the game and then put them in that one sentence. That's what they did. It's actually a figure of speech. I'm not actually sure what the name of it is, but it's a specific type of figure of speech. It's not meant to be the proper way of writing it. It is a proper way of writing it, but it's meant to convey meaning by using "and" a lot of times. I really am not sure what the figure of speech is. It doesn't matter. She says, merchants, warriors, miners, and visitors from other clans, even the occasional trader or envoy from the Ariel Woods or the Vol, far less since Haven left, though. Since Haven left Sacramentum, our nations all sort of retreated into themselves. That is a thing that they... What? Were they at war? Were they expanded out of themselves? Or maybe she means the people. Which would make more sense a little bit, in the sense that this can be figurative. But not for a nation. The nation can't, the nation is figurative by itself. So figurative stuff for figurative things works as explicit. Or, what's the word? Literal, that's the word. Instead of figurative, it's literal. So you expect trouble? The northern clans have always had trouble, because they suck. But it's been worse. The Ganal are full of rage, because they suck. They have been attacked... What? Oh, they have even attacked Havenites, and the Borgin are always greedy. See, all of them suck. Haven returning has only made everyone jumpy. There's been fighting. What? Okay, well, I'm gonna steer away from that conversation then. What are your services? Because that's the only option I have to ask. You can have a room for the night for 3 coins. A round of drink for 2. Okay. Well, I guess I don't need any of that. I mean, right? I don't think we do. Why would we want to sleep? Although sleeping is not a bad idea, considering that we might be able to gain money now. Lock! Exclamation mark. That's probably my room then. We're not going in there. What do we have over here? Master Camlo. This is a workshop and office combined. Combined workshop and office. Miners come here to register their claims and have their iron checked for quality. Iron is the main strength and wealth of the UCAT, and they take it very seriously. The iron, they take it, or maybe the strength and wealth. Anyway, there is one man who is clearly in charge. He is also far more interested in ore deposits than people. He looks you over, confused about why you're here. I am Amlo. Sorry, not Amlo. Camlo. Master of mines. You are no miner. No, I am a prince, actually. He ponders this. Oh, I have never met a prince. A lady many times. But no prince. I think King Borgin has 3 princes, but I haven't met any. You have weapons, but no picks. You are a warrior as well as a prince. I am master of mines. I make sure the vital business of iron... of iron in Brocklands goes smoothly. When needed, I pay bounties. Okay, I'm gonna ask again then. What do you do? I process new claims. I handle complaints about thieves in peat bogs. I sample Okatish iron that is mined and smelted. I make sure that the iron we sell does not hurt our sterling reputation. He chuckles. Sterling reputation. Yes, it's a metallurgy joke. Very good joke. The nicest of them. Claims are an important business? Young, ambitious swamp runners are always looking for new mines and new peat bogs. Because of the... Doesn't peat bog is it... Peat, sometimes known as turf, is an accumulation of partially decayed vegetation or organic matter. As I figured it was, because it burns. It is unique to natural areas called peatlands, bogs, mires. Oh, that's where the word mire comes from. Because I've never seen it used in normal things apart from some video games. Moors. I love the word moors, but that's because of Diablo 2. Anyway, now we know. Or muskegs. The peatland ecosystem covers 3.7 million square kilometers. That's just... I'm reading from the Wikipedia, by the way, if you're wondering what the heck's going on. I am trying to figure out why the heck he is looking for pit bogs if he's looking for iron. Because I would say... there's no correlation here. because peat bogs are where you get peat. It's apparently a renewable source of energy. Or it's not, rather, it is not. I was like, what, how is it? How fast does it renew? But it isn't. It isn't because it requires hundreds of years. Or not hundreds. How long is it? It doesn't say, but on at least the main wiki page. But of course, it's basically like crappier oil. It's peat. But yeah, I think you can make like roads out of it as well. Because like tarmac is made out of oil, I think, or mixed with other things, but still the oily and carbon-rich aspect of the material allows you to make things, depending on what you want to do, especially for the reactions that tarmac has, because tarmac only really solidifies with a chemical reaction, as far as I'm aware, anyway. So he continues about the pit bogs. Much of the Yucatish swamps are still wild. They hope to make a fortune. I need to make sure they can make claims and that they are respected. That keeps miners from murdering each other. Worth the trouble. Does that keep miners from murdering each other? Because I think it would increase the amount of murder, potentially. Because if they... No, I can see where he's coming from. Basically, he means that he's giving them a more reasonable way of claiming whatever peat bog they want, instead of just saying, oh, that's mine. Because, you know, if there's a reasonable way, then miners would arrive and see a pit bog and be like, I wonder if this is anybody's place. And they go and check, and oh, it is this fella's. So, yeah. Anyway, what is a peat bog? I just read about it, but let's find out. It is a swamp that grows little pebbles of iron. It doesn't say anything about that in the wiki. It does not say any of that, and I was not wrong, because I thought he might have been implying that, but it does apparently produce coal, or it's not coal, but it's specifically... Because I'm just skimming the article as I'm commentating. Anyway, he's saying wrong things. This is not the real peat bogs. They're paat bogs. That's what they are. It is a swamp that grows little pebbles of iron as years pass. Unbelievable. Well, it's magic. It's paat bog. The Ucat get its powers as a gift from our swamps. The iron takes time to grow, and sometimes thieves sneak in to steal it from the land's rightful owners. I look for cases of this and make sure the thieves are properly killed. Properly killed, because otherwise they would be improperly killed. You don't want them to be improperly killed. Also, what would you do with little pebbles of iron? How scarce is your iron? Like, the reason why we value gold is because, excuse me, is precisely because, well, it's also an historical thing. It's kind of, it's complicated. But objectively speaking, if you discount, you know, contemporary history, really, the reason why we as a society value gold up until the 1700s, and then things change a little bit, is because it is so rare. And also before the 1700s, it also started to change. But because it is so rare, because you did indeed have to find it in there's a name for stuff, like in rivers and stuff. So basically, it's the scraps. You're getting scraps of what the earth has to offer. The earth has so much gold. It's unbelievable. It's like it's got a lot of it. Well, it doesn't have a lot of it, but it has a lot more than we have access to, and a lot more than other materials that we also have access to. But it's all, you know, due to its rarity. Now, the interesting thing about iron is that the first jewels that humanity has, I think they are from... I don't know the date exactly, but I'm tempted to say 9,000 BP. That's before present. So that would be 7,000 BCE. I think that's the first jewels. I might be wrong on that. I might be mixing my dates because I'm trying to recall where I learned it, and I don't know exactly where I learned it. That's how I recall my dates. I recall when I learned them and how I learned about them, and then I try to reconstruct them in my head because my numbers things isn't particularly good. Anyway, the point is, the first jewels were made out of steel, not even iron. And the reason why the wait a minute, that can't be right. Is that right? That can't be right. The first jewels. We had jewels at least, well, way later anyway, but jewels made out of bronze and at least decoration and adornments made out of bronze and silver. No, I'm mixing it up. I might be. It's not the first jewels. That I'm telling the story wrong. It might be from 7,000 BCE, but I don't know. The dates don't matter really. But the first, what I mean to say is the first recorded or the first evidence of steel that we have is in jewels, and the reason for that is because, well, steel was very difficult to make, and it is still very difficult to make, except we have the technology now and we know how to do it relatively easy. But it's still difficult because it requires a lot of resources, and it's still a pain in the butt because of the temperatures that it requires to melt the iron. And the thing is, that is to make good steel. When you make bad steel by accident, what happens is basically you have iron, you have it melted a little bit, and then some bits of carbon get in there, and then you're gonna get these bits that are really, really hard because that's what steel is. Because the carbon gets mixed up with the steel, or with the iron rather, because that's how steel is made. And then what the smiths would do, most likely, or at least that's our hypothesis, is that they would look at the iron that they get out of the forge, and they see those bits of very shiny, very hard metal, and they just cut it out and make jewels out of it because that is like special. So it's rare. But that doesn't mean that iron itself is rare. It means that steel itself is considered rare enough to make jewels out of it. But for them, the thing is, for little pebbles, it can't be like that. You cannot mine iron like that. Iron. Iron is extremely wasteful. Forging iron is extremely wasteful in the sense of the resource itself. It is you lose so much iron. Actually, any forging, you lose so much of the material. But iron oxidizes very fast. And there's ways of you to prevent the iron from oxidizing, but that's modern technology. It's not old school stuff where they didn't even know what a peat bog was. Although this one is magical, so it's a paat bog. But anyway. So tell me about the Ukadish iron. It is the finest iron in the known world. There is something in our lands that makes iron with exceptional qualities. Our iron is the cruelest in the world. Is it cruel iron? I'm asking, apparently. Ukatish iron is strong, easily worked, and not brittle. Yes. I mean, that's not how iron is made. I'll tell you in a little bit. Yet when it takes an edge, it is a vicious, ragged edge. In weapons, it makes wounds that are horribly painful and heal slowly. Also wounds that are prone to infection. This iron is what we use against the wretches who invade our swamps. And obviously, this is all magical iron. Real iron, basically, it's all the same. Because it's elemental iron, right? Iron is just, Fe. That's the element. And you get it out in different combinations, because it usually is bound, binded to other things, to other elements. So it can be oxidized, but usually it is oxidized, but it can also be attached to other elements, and then you need to take them out. And the process of taking them out is pretty simple. You just heat it up very much. Now, there's other ways of forging iron where it doesn't require you to completely melt it. You can forge it by hammering it, and it does heat it up, but it's the process of compression, where you just hammer something, like hammer at something made of iron. The process of compression will extract the extraneous material out of the iron. It's not going to make it perfect, but it is going to make it just normal iron. So the difference between different forging techniques isn't really about how amazing the iron is, but it's rather about how pure the iron is. And the purer it is, the easier it is for you to make certain alloys and just not have imperfections, for example, which is a real serious concern. If you have a pebble in the middle of your iron, when you go to forge your sword, the forge is going to crack. The sword is going to crack because the pebble is going to expand a lot, and it's just going to crack the iron. And there's other things as well. That I'm just saying a pebble, obviously, that's an enormous contamination, but there's other things that can contaminate it as well, or just change the property of the iron so it's not evenly tempered, the sword. And when I say the word tempered here, I said the word, that's precisely what makes a material iron in this circumstance, because different elements will temper differently, or not at all. Some elements don't temper. Some alloys of iron don't temper. As far as I know, or some alloys anyway. I'm not sure if it's iron. But the thing is, if it's strong, whatever that means, or if it's brittle, if it's springy, or if it's like if it keeps an edge, for example. Usually, if it keeps an edge, then it's brittle. Is that how it works? Yeah. Yeah. Basically, the more brittle it is, the harder the material it is. And it's just a normal law of physics. Of course, if it's magical, it doesn't count. I'm just telling you out of curiosity. So basically, the better the edge is kept, the more brittle it is. Which means that if you smack it, it's gonna break. There are some compromises. For example, spring metal is not as brittle as normal metal, and it can keep an edge very well. And that's just a different way of tempering it. And when I say tempering, what is tempering? Well, it's basically there's a better definition than what I'm no blacksmith. But basically, what it is you warm the metal up to a certain temperature, and then you cool it to another certain temperature. And you can do this multiple times depending on what you want to do and what parts of your weapon you want tempered in different ways. Katanas famously are tempered in different ways and made with different tempered types of metal. I think it's 3 different types, but either way, the point is, basically that's where the metal comes from. It comes with different, how much, properties, different properties. Okay, I have another question. Ooh, we are going to discuss Ukarish politics. I am going to ramble even more than I do about metals. Yeah, I'd like that. Oh, you should talk to Bracton Core. He is in the Brock clan house, southwest corner of town. He knows about clans and all that mess. Mess. Tell me more about those bounties you mentioned. The Brock gives me authority to pay bounty hunters in gold and iron. The swamps are dangerous. Monsters and raiders. We need to use force to destroy them. Yes, indeed. He checks his papers. For example, Pagaren's stake. It was lost to brigands. We need to take it back. Do you? What is Pagaren's stake? I think I took it back. It is a productive iron mine to the north, not far from the ocean. Lost to bandits now. We need to retake it. Losing our mine sends a signal of weakness to the Borgen and Ganel. Yes, that is the biggest problem of losing your mines. Mines? No, you lost those already. Your mines. Tell me about these bandits. He checks his notes. Well-armed, organized, persistent. They're driven off two efforts to dislodge them. So, yeah, they stopped two of our attempts to dislodge them. Very strange. Brigands are usually cowards. They grab and then disappear into the fens. These are holding the territory. It makes us suspect organized enemies. Interesting that he uses fens as the way I understand it to be, which is a type of plant. The bandits might be acting for the Ganel or Borgen clan. Both have been encroaching on Brock territory. If you find any evidence of this, it would be helpful to the people who worry about politics, he says, just showing a lot of disdain. Well, Pagaren's stake is cleared out. You tell Master Kamlo the tale. He doesn't seem interested in the heroic details, because he thinks that's politics. I see, he says. He makes some notes. Efficiently done. I will have gold and regular shipments of iron sent to Haven as payment for your efforts. You helped, but there is one thing I wonder. I still suspect that a rival clan sent those bandits. Did you find any evidence of this? I did. I found evidence that the mine was taken by Borgen raiders. You show him the square of white cloth. He takes notes for a later meeting with the Brock leaders. Yes, very Borganish, I say, not really wanting to deal with politics. I will make sure the Brock learn about this. It will make them unhappy, but it is a fact and must be faced. He gives you a pouch of gold, an extra payment for your aid. Thank you, Havenite. Well, I could still use more resources. Understood. However, I don't have anything to offer you. I'm sure many others want to pay a skilled bounty hunter like you. Aw. Well, I guess that's that, isn't it? 2 iron and 70 gold. Either that or I missed it because I saw 20 gold pop up. I think that was the bonus. But that is also the end of the episode. For right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Queen's Wish. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.